Good evening, Philippines. Welcome to General Assignment, now on its 5th season. On the show tonight, Brenda Baylon, Deputy General Manager of the German-Philippines Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Back with us, Mr. Pete Ilagan, President of the National Association of Electricity Consumers for Reforms, or NASECORE. Power shortage, rotating brownouts, the mere mention sends shivers down the spine of both businessmen and homeowners. Are we headed back to the dark ages, like what we experienced during the Cory Administration? I'm your host, Miguel Gil, and good evening. Good evening. Welcome back, Pete. And first time with us is Brenda of the German-Philippine Chamber.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program. Okay. Aside, of course, from the other controversies in the country, the supposed ill-gotten wealth of a lot of local officials, and the murder of the transvestite, no, which is hugging the headlines now. But perhaps the story or the issue that is most significant to the Filipino personally is the supposed looming power crisis. Okay, so Pete, are we really headed for a power crisis?
Well, if the distribution utilities would continue in with their apathy, we will be. Because distribution utilities are the ones mandated to ensure sufficient, stable, and secured supply of electricity. That's the reason why we had this Mindanao power crisis, because of the non-compliance of the distribution utilities with the mandate of the law.
You know, we know you from your efforts to bring down power rates. No? I understand, I don't know if this is still true, but in Asia, the Philippines is either the first or the second in terms of having the most expensive power rates. No? So, napakamahal ng kuryente sa Pilipinas. So, ano ba ang situation yan? Are we ahead of Japan already as far as cost of power? Or
well, mahal talaga tayo kasi number one, tinanggal yung subsidy. Ayaw ng Electric Power Industry Reform Act ang subsidy. Ikalawa, maliban sa withdrawal ng subsidy, dinagdagan tayo ng maraming charges na hindi naman mga cost of services. Diba? Like yung environmental, missionary electrification, hindi tayo na ngayon ang nagsasubsidize directly yung mga consumers. Kaya tataas. And then, the lack of regulatory audit. Okay. So hindi tayo nakakasiguro na yung charge sa atin ay yung totoong cost incurred in providing us the service.
Okay, tinatalakay po natin ngayon yung sinasabing napipintong krisis sa kuryente. Ibig sabihin, sa loob ng kulang-kulang 5 buwan, 5-6 na buwan, summer of 2015, iiral na raw itong power shortage kung saan mababalik na naman tayo sa early 1990s kung saan nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na rotating brownouts. So, ilang oras nakawalan ng kuryente araw-araw. So, if you want to take part in our discussions, you can text your questions or reactions to mobile number 0915-209-6012. That's 0915-209-6012. Brenda, good evening. Okay. And you are the Deputy General Manager of the German-Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So, this is a business group, and a lot of businesses are very sensitive when it comes to power shortages, or even the prospect of a power shortage. Because in 1991 or 92, a lot of manufacturing operations were really affected by the rotating brownouts then. But 20-25 years hence, we are a lot more dependent in electricity than we were way back then. No? So, what is your position on this supposedly looming power shortage?
Yeah. As a Chamber of Commerce, no, the looming power crisis in summer of 2015 is definitely a big topic for us because we have member companies that are engaged in manufacturing and also other business activities that depend heavily on electricity. So if that happens, the looming power crisis that you mentioned,
If it becomes real.
yes, if it becomes real, then our companies will definitely be affected in terms of the production, in terms of the output that they expect, and naturally that will translate to effects in the income and performance ng business nila.
Okay. I know that Germans are heavily into manufacturing.
Yes.
So, do you have manufacturing operations here?
Yes, we have some companies, German companies that are here. For example, we have Continental Temic, which is producing electronic assemblies for the automotive industry.
Okay.
And their products are delivered worldwide. So imagine if this company, citing this company as an example, would be affected by the crisis, by the energy crisis, then their deliveries, their production and deliveries would definitely be affected.
Okay. Pete, no one can say that they were blindsided by this power crisis because as you were telling me, as far as 2002, 2003, I think Vince Perez, then Secretary of Energy, was already warning us about the possibility. No? Of course, that never materialized then, but now, fast forward 2014, we seem to be headed down that same path. I mean, this is the fourth year of the current administration. Why is it that nothing was done to address this problem? Is this a problem of our population growing too fast for the power generation, the power plants, or what?
You know, we have to thank Secretary Vince Perez for the issuance of a circular mandating all the distribution utilities in the country to ensure sufficient supply. In other words, the burden of seeing to it that there will be no power crisis, there will be no power outages, was passed on to the distribution utilities. That's the reason why, if we have to be blunt about answering this question, it would really be the negligence now of the distribution utilities. That's why when there will be a power outage, we should ask which franchise area, diba? Under whose franchise area are we having power outage? Because we have to ask that question on the distribution utility that is supposed to ensure the stable supply of electricity.
In that particular area?
Yes.
But from a business standpoint, it would seem that this is a business that keeps on giving. I mean, it cannot lose because everyone needs power.
Yes.
It's like medicine. I mean, whether you like it or not, you have to pay your bill. No. So, why is it that the necessary investments in the power sector that should be lining up don't seem to be forthcoming?
Because the takers or the distribution utilities, which are supposed to be accepting the supply contracts, do not have that creditworthiness. Okay,
You're talking about the power cooperative.
Yes. So
smaller
if I were the potential investor in the plant construction, and even if I will be given a provisional approval by the Energy Regulatory Commission, the bank would be hesitant to fund my project if they know that the management of the distribution utility does not have the track record or the creditworthiness. So that's where we are suffering now. So we can see now that the only compliant distribution utilities are the private sector. I mean the privately owned like Meralco and the Davao Light and the
Yung
San
malalaki, in
Fernando.
other words.
Yung mga pribado. Sa electric cooperatives natin, meron bang electric cooperatives na nag-bid ng NAPOCOR assets? Wala.
Okay. Marami sa ating mga viewers ang nagte-text na tagalugin daw natin. So, tatagalugin natin. Pete, wala ba pagkukulang, in other words, ang gobyerno? Dahil parang nandyan na, matagal na, wala na makapagsasabi na hindi na warningan, walang nagbigay ng babala. Pero parang inantay pa last minute kung kailan na nandyan na yung problema, nakaumang na yung problema, at ngayon pa lang parang kumikilos at humihingi ng emergency powers. Kung ano man yung emergency powers na yun.
Nakakatuwa nga rito sapagkat nakakita tayo ng isang sekretaryo na ginagamit talaga yung power niya para siguruhin Di ba may mga takeover tayo ng electric cooperatives?
Yes, oo.
Okay. Unang-unang tanong natin, bakit nagkautang ng 5 billion, 7 billion yung isang electric cooperative? Samantalang sabi nga natin, monopoliya yan. Lahat, even yung mga nakaw na kuryente, pinapasa sa atin, assistance
walang talo.
charge, walang talo. Pero bakit nagkakautang ng 5 billion? Bakit halos lahat ng electric cooperative may utang? Alam naman natin yung electric cooperative natin ay controlled and supervised by the National Electrification Administration. Meron pa silang boss. So, mas nakakapagtaka eh. Ang Meralco, wala nang boss, pero magandang takbo. Pinagmamalaki pa pirmi yung kanyang quarterly profits. Nakakapag-invest pa sa ibang bansa. Nakakapagtayo pa ng maraming kumpanya.
Okay.
Oh.
Meron tayong, Pete, Brenda, meron tayong texters. Hindi ko alam kung ito na yung mga latest ngayon. No? Ito, binibigyan natin lahat ng mga text ng ating mga viewers hanggang sa makakaya. No? Kahit na yung mga from previous episodes, kung lalo na pag binibigay yung buong pangalan, no? At kung taga saan sila. From David or David Balquin or Balkin of Banga, South Cotabato. Bakit ayaw ni Pinoy na halongkatin ang mga katiwalian ng kanyang kabinete, lalo na si Abad sa Malampaya Fund? Okay, so bago yan. Okay, from Cecil Reyes, BGC Taguig. Okay, Cecil Reyes from Taguig says, more power to your program. I always watch your program. Maraming salamat po. Okay. Brenda, let's look at the positive the positive side. What can be done? Ano magagawa natin to address the looming crisis? Itong shortfall na to dahil kasi ang may mga nagsasabi pera-pera lang yan eh. If you have the necessary investments into the power sector, walang dahilan kung bakit magkaka-power crisis.
Sa amin, sa German-Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, hindi kami nag-o-offer ng malaking solusyon, but what we want to offer is alternatives. In particular, nagpo-focus kami sa renewable energy technology. Kasi alam ng karamihan na ang Germany, masyado siyang malakas sa renewable energy. Na-develop nila yung mga technology para magamit yung power na manggagaling sa hangin, sa araw, sa tubig, sa geothermal. So I'm talking about the renewable energy sources, no? Wind, solar, biomass even, biomass. Yun yung mga tira-tirang agricultural
mga feces ng mga among other things.
or even yung mais.
So hydroelectric okay na tayo tsaka yung geothermal,
Yes.
pero kulang pa rin, no? So may
Kulang pa rin.
shortfall pa rin.
Oo.
So I understand itong mga solar tsaka wind, umaabot na tayo sa punto ng teknolohiya na viable na to. Ibig
Yes.
sabihin, kaya na nitong maka-produce ng sufficienting amount ng elektrisidad. Dati kasi parang medyo academic lang yung technology, no? Para maipakita lang na kaya. Pero ngayon mukhang practical na.
Yeah. Yun ang gusto naming dalhing idea dito sa Pilipinas na pwede kasing maging additional or hindi siya papalit sa conventional sources ng energy pero
To augment.
pandagdag para hindi naman tayo masyadong mahirapan kasi nandiyan ang araw, 'di ba? Marami tayong panahon na matindi ang sikat ng araw, pwede natin gamitin 'yon para mag-generate ng electricity. Tapos merong mga areas lalo na sa mga katabing dagat sa Pilipinas na malakas ang hangin. So, pwede natin gamitin yon. Kaya lang, kailangan din syempre ng investment.
Siguro pwede itabi yung mga wind mga
Turbines.
windmills na yun sa tabi ng Senado. Malakas ang hangin doon. Katakot-takot na electricity mapoproduce. Anyway,